Okay, y'all, I got another hair exam to do here, and I'm going to do this one a little different. So my friend Thomas, and I'll open these up in just a little bit, he sent me some hairs that he's wondering if they're horse hairs. And so what I'm going to do before I actually get started with that, I got out my samples of horse hairs. So actually I had a neighbor, one of our neighbors just down the road, she had a white horse, and this was about 4 years ago or so, 5 years ago, when I first started collecting all the different hairs. So she had a white horse down there that she was taking care of, and she was out there riding him a lot and taking care of him. So I went down there one day and I asked her if I could have some hairs off of the horse, and I explained to her what I was doing, why I was asking for it, that I was doing Bigfoot research and that I was collecting all the different animal hairs around Florida here, and the wild animals, and also getting like the domestic animals, the horses, the cattle, collecting all the different hairs like that so I could do examinations with them. So I made sure I explained to her what I was doing, because she said at first she was at first she was wondering, and she told me, she said that she was just wanting to make sure I wasn't one of a crazy neighbor that was wanting to collect some hairs from her horse and take them somewhere and have them examined and try to claim her horse wasn't in good shape or something like that. Making sure I wasn't being stupid, something like that. But I explained to her what I was doing, and once I explained to her what I was doing, she actually asked me if I knew Robert Robinson, and at the time I had not known him yet, but he had taught some of the classes that she had been in, and she was telling me that he's a Bigfoot researcher and he's done some speaking, and so it was shortly after that I got to meet Robert Robinson, and he actually went out with me a couple times out researching. So now we're friends. So that was pretty cool. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take my horsehair samples first, and I'm going to make a cast of, I'm going to take 2 pieces and make a cast of it. So I'm going to do that first. And so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get them out and get them ready. So these are from the white horse. So I'm going to get a couple of these out. Let me get a couple ready here. She gave me a lot of them there, so that was nice of her. Okay, let me get my timer started. Okay, I've still got it set for 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to do like I did last time. I'm going to do two of these. So this is clear fingernail polish. So these are white, so they're kind of hard to see. Okay, I have one in each one, so I'm going to hit start. So I'm going to let that run for 15 minutes and then I'll take these out. And then we'll have a cast of these two hairs. Alright, just so you can see up close what I'm doing. So I got the timer going. And then here's the cast. So I got the hairs in it. There's one. And there's the second one. So I like going ahead and doing these with the two of these like this. Try to get it more in the center. I'm trying to get it where the light's hitting it, where you can see it. Alright, so in 15 minutes I'll take the hairs out. And then we'll have our cast. Alright, the timer's almost up. Got a minute left. So, like I said, this is for 15 minutes. You let the hair sit in the clear nail polish. And then at 15 minutes, take it out. And then we'll have our two casts of the hairs. Alright, and then once I take these out, I'll let them sit just a minute. And I'll talk about the horse hair. I got a couple of screenshots, and I'll tell you a little bit about the horse hair. And then we'll take a look at these on the microscope, the compound microscope. And we'll look at them with the digital microscope too, the original hairs here. Alright, 4 seconds left. Okay, there's that one. Set it aside. Okay, there's that one. Alright, I'll set them to the side. Alright, so we'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. Alright, let me show you these real quick on here. There we go, that looks pretty good. So there's one cast right there in the center of the nail polish. And then there's another one. Alright, so we'll be looking at them in just a minute. Alright, I'm going to bring you over here. So this is one of my screenshots here, and it has the horsehair on it. So it shows you can see a little of the outside of it, the cuticle, and it shows a thick medulla. So I took some screenshots and I'll add them into this. Alright, so I want to read a little of this too. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll put this back on the tripod. And I'll read a little of this to you as far as the horsehair. Alright, so let me read a little of this to you. So the hair versus fur. Alright, so what's the difference? So horses have hair, not fur. It says, although there is no scientific difference between hair and fur, a horse's coat has been called hair because it is not dense like that of fur garments humans would wear. So both hair and fur consist of the protein keratin, but there are some key distinctions commonly made between the two. Hair, as seen on humans and horses' manes and tails, tends to grow continuously and can be quite long, whereas fur grows to a certain length before shedding. So still people call the horse's coat strands hairs. Additionally, hair often has a slower growth rate and a longer life cycle than fur. So in terms of texture, hair is usually smoother and finer, allowing for more flexibility, while fur is denser and provides better insulation for animals. So the terms hair and fur have evolved to typically describe these different characteristics, even though the underlying composition is the same. Alright, so the types of hair found on a horse. Horses exhibit a fascinating array of hair types, each with its own unique function. So permanent hair, such as the forelock, the mane, the tail, the eyelashes, and the distinct feathers on the draft horses, provides protection and insulation against the elements. So in contrast, temporary hair covers the majority of the horse's body and plays a crucial role in regulating body temperature, as it is shed and replaced according to seasonal changes. So that's the main hair on the body itself of the horse. The lesser known tactile hair, including whiskers around the muzzle and eyes, serves a vital sensory purpose, allowing horses to effectively interpret their environment and accurately judge distances. It's important to note that trimming these tactile hairs can hinder a horse's ability to navigate, which is why equine experts advise against doing so. So the tactile hair, including the whiskers around the muzzle and eyes, is a vital sensory purpose. Alright, so I'll take a screenshot of this too right here so you can, I'll add this in here, because this is a really good up close. You can see the tactile hairs underneath the mouth and coming out around the edges of the nose, so you'll be able to see that. So the outer cuticle acts as a shield. So the outer cuticle, that's the outside of the hair. It's protecting the inner layers from external factors such as weather, dirt, and debris. The cortex, which is on the inside, It contains the pigmentation, is responsible for giving the horse's hair its distinctive color and strength. And then the inner medulla provides the hair with additional insulation, ensuring that the horse stays warm in colder climates. And finally, the root or bulb anchors the hair to the horse's skin, enabling constant growth and renewal. So not just for horses, but for mainly anything with hair, is you have the outside cuticle, the inside cortex, the medulla on the inside, the root or the bulb. Alright, so I'll add the link to this too. I'll add the link to this if you want to read through and read everything here in this. That's a pretty good article there. And I got some screenshots here too that I'll show, that show the horse's hair. It shows the outside cuticle is smooth, and then the continuous thick medulla on the inside. Alright, so I'll show those screenshots right here too in that. Alright, so this is the first cast. This is the first cast, the horsehair. So this is the horsehair from my samples. Okay, this is the cast. So in the center there you can see what the cuticle, the outside of the hair, the scales, the cuticle scales. So they're pretty smooth. Alright, so let's take a look at the next one. Alright, so I'll switch over to the one on the left. Alright, this one turned out even better. This one turned out really good. Okay, so we're on the second cast, the one on the left. So see, this turned out really good. So right there in the middle, it's showing the outside of the hair, the cuticle, the scales. So this is the horsehair. This is the white horsehair from my neighbor. Alright, so let's that turned out really good. Okay, so I'm gonna move these. I'm switching over to an actual one of the hairs. Okay. Okay, so now I have one of the white horse hairs from my neighbor. I have it here. Alright, so this is the outside cuticle, the scales. This is the horsehair, like I said, from my neighbor. That's the view from the top, with the light from the top. I want to show you this with adding light. Adding light from the top. You can really see it good. That's the outside of the hair, the cuticle. Alright, so I'm trying to make sure that you can see this. So I'm seeing a medulla, a continuous medulla right there in the center. Right there in the middle of the hairs. I'm seeing a continuous medulla. Alright, so I'll show that the best I can. So I'm doing it this way so I can see once I start looking at the hairs Thomas sent that I already know what I'm looking for. Okay, so this is my camera recording. This is my camera recording here. Alright, so I'm gonna stop this and then I'll plug the digital microscope in. Okay, now we're recording on this. Alright, so this is the white horsehair that my neighbor gave me. Alright, so this is showing two of them here. So the digital microscope, it enlarges it. Like zooms in like using a magnifying glass, but a lot more powerful. Okay, so when looking at hairs, you want to make sure they're staying round and they're not flattening out and doing things like that. That will tell you that they're fibers. Okay, I'm going to stop that and unplug it. Let's get a measurement on these. So I'll go ahead and use the digital calipers. I'll get a measurement on these horse hairs. Okay, this is the horsehair. 0.04 millimeter. Alright, so we'll have this for comparison also. so I'm doing this professionally as much as I can. Trying to keep this all scientific and forensic. Alright, so let's open up the hairs that Thomas sent. So this is from my friend Thomas in Minnesota. So this is the second set of hairs that he sent me. Alright, so also when I do these hair exams, I try to do them pretty quick once I get the hair sent to me. I see one of them falling out there. So I try to do these pretty quick once it's sent to me. And I've actually had I've had these for just a little bit from Thomas. Alright, he sent me a self-addressed envelope to send them back. I sent the last ones back to him as well. And sent him a video as well on it. I have a fresh piece of paper here to put this on. So he said these were long and he thought they might be horse hairs, maybe from a horse mane. But he wanted me to check them and make sure. But like I said, I've had these for like 2 weeks now. And I've been trying to get to doing the examination. Okay, so he says, Tim, these are said to be Bigfoot hairs from Minnesota. Hopefully we have better luck with these. But he was saying that he thinks these could be the horse hair from a mane, the horse's mane, because they're so long. But when I'm doing these exams for friends, like I said, I'll beat myself up sometimes if I'm not getting these out and the examination's done pretty quick. I did that with Kathy too, with some hairs that she sent me, and it took me a while to get to them. And hers actually turned out to be Bigfoot hairs. So this looks like 2 different hairs here. Alright, so let me show you what I'm looking at. So this one's really long. And these are thicker here. Oh, these feel like wire. These feel like a wire. They're like really thick and tough. So this hair here seems to be a little different than those. So we'll check it out. Alright. So first let's look at these. We'll look at these with the digital microscope. Make sure I'm still recording there. Okay, so I'm turning on the digital microscope here to look at the hairs that Thomas sent. So he's wondering if they're Bigfoot hairs or if they could be horse hairs. Okay, we're recording now with the digital microscope. Alright, here's one of the ends. This is the end on the real long one. Okay, so that's not cut. And we can see it staying round. So let's go to the other end. Alright, so this end has the root, or some people call it the bulb. And look, this got clear in it. So we're looking at the color. It's got a lot of clear in it. And it's got some light greenish brown. And it gets darker right there. Alright, so let me stop this for a second. I want to get a measurement on this one. Okay, this is the longer hair, 0.07 millimeter. So this is the longer hair that we were just looking at with the digital microscope. So let's unplug that. Okay, so this one, so I was just checking, so we had 0.07 millimeters. So that is 0.003 inches. So that falls within human. So that one falls within human. So let's take a look at that with the compound microscope. Because I think we have two different hairs here. I want to look at this one first. So I'll try to look at these without cutting them. So like this one, there's only one of this long one. Okay, I'm going to show you here what I'm looking at. Okay, this is the longer hair. Okay, this one has a little bit of a medulla, but it's like really fractured. Okay, this is looking down at it from the top. Okay, I'll move this a little and get it back in place. Okay, this will show you here. I ended up moving it a little. So the medulla is really fragmented. So like all the other human hair I've been looking at, you can see inside it really good. And then the outside scale pattern. So this is human. So it's not real easy to get the phone up here to look at it, to get it really good on the phone. Alright, so right there you can see it's really fragmented a lot. There's only a little medulla in it. And our measurement falls within human. Okay, so that's the first hair there. Alright, so now I'm curious about these other ones. These are a lot thicker. Okay, so first let's look at them with the digital microscope. So I'll get this measurement first. So these are really thick, 0.19 millimeter. All right. Zero 0.13 millimeter. Zero 0.11 millimeter. Zero 0.19 millimeter. Okay, so 0.19 millimeter is 0.007 inches. Zero 0.007 inch. Alright, one of those was 0.11 millimeter, so that's 0.04. Zero 0.14. Zero 0.6 inches. 0.006 inch. So I'm going to switch to the digital microscope. Alright, so I'm going to plug this in. Make sure we're still recording. Okay, here's an end with the root. Alright, so let's look at the other end. That end's been cut. Alright, that end's been cut. Okay, so I'll look at it in the middle. So the color seems to be consistent. It's really dark, almost black. Okay, let's look at the next hair. So this hair splits on the end. This one's got a little bit of clear in it. And this one's lighter on the end there. Let's go to the other end. Okay, that end's been cut. And now we're back to the dark color. And it's all staying consistently round. And this looks like probably the root of the hair. See what the other end looks like. And this end's been cut. Alright, that end's been cut. Alright, so these are hairs. They've been cut. They are real thick. So these are apparently not human. Alright, so now I'm curious about these. So what I'm doing here, I'm actually keeping from cutting these. Normally what you would do, you would take your piece of glass here, you would cut a piece of the hair, and you would take and put a drop of distilled water on here. Cut a piece of hair and lay it on there, and then take the little slide cover and set it on there, and it would hold the hair in place. But for right now I'm trying to keep from cutting these. So I'm setting them in there and then on the slide, the glass slide, and then putting the slide cover on to help hold it. Okay, so I want to show you what I'm looking at here. Okay, this is with added light. So this is really smooth. So this right here is the, appears to be the horse hair. It looks like it's matching what I showed. So I'm trying to get it where you can see it good. Okay, this is the outside of the hair. So this appears to match the horse hair that I was looking at from my neighbor. The outside of the hair here, the cuticle. It's really smooth, so that matches horse. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is see if there's a medulla. So let me see if I can get this to be steady. Okay, so the middle of this one, the medulla is, looks to me like it's matching exactly to what I had in the other one. And the horse hairs that my neighbor gave me. So I think this is the mane, the horse's mane. And I think it looked like the hairs that I looked at from my neighbor's horse had to have been from the body hair. And this looks like the mane hair, because these have been cut, because people cut the horse's hair, the mane. Alright, so from what I'm reading here, doing some research into this, these hairs right here, these three look like they're from the underside of the neck, underside of the mane. It says they'd be 3 to 5 inches, so that's what these are. Alright, so what I'm actually looking for is the thickness of the hair. So one thing I'm seeing here too, I'll add the description in on this too as well, because this is talking about the mane hair on the horse, and it talks about a lot of the different breeds of horses and a lot of the different grooming of the mane depending on the horse and what they're being used for. So I'll add that in too. Okay, so searching on the internet here to make sure how thick the horse hairs should be. So I found that they're between 50 to 150 microns. Alright, so doing a conversion, 150 microns is equal to 0.15 millimeter. So the 0.15 millimeter is equal to 0.006 inches. So that's what I was coming up with here. I had 0.004, 0.006, 0.007. So this is for horsehair. Alright, so it looks like what we had here, we had one really long hair, turns out to be human, and then there's 3 short, real thick hairs that turn out to be horse mane, the horse mane hair. Alright, so there's some really good articles here about horses. So I'll add these in the description as well. Some of these articles here that I was looking up and reading through, trying to make sure I got everything. And I'll add in a few screenshots here too. I'll add a few screenshots from these. So this is what we have here. So these go into a lot of detail about the horses, the horse mane, how long they are, and depending on what the horse is used for. Alright, so some of these screenshots I'm going to add in here. I'm claiming the Fair Use Act. So this is for teaching about what I'm doing here. And the horse hairs. So these are just some screenshots from these articles, and I'm putting all the links into my video here in the description to where I'm getting these from. Alright, so one of these was, the long one is human. So these 3 shorter ones are really thick, and there's a root with them, a couple of roots. 2 of them have been cut. They're staying consistently round. They're dark. One of them has a split end on it and gets lighter at the split end. All the measurements of these are within the measurement of a horse thickness of the hair. The outside cuticle is the same as the ones that I was looking at in my comparisons that I pulled out from my samples that I have. All right, so Thomas, 3 of these are horse hairs from the mane, the long mane, and they appear to be from the underside, which is shorter. And then there's the one longer one is human that's in this. It's a different hair. All right, so that's my analysis of these hairs. Alright, so that'll wrap up this video. So I'm going to get these in the mail back to Thomas. He sent a self-addressed envelope, self-stamped.